Hi everyone, I'm Steve Kreider. Instead of a post today, I wanted to do a brief LinkedIn video on how mastering two simple words can elevate your credibility and really help boost your career. Those two words are I think, right? I think. Not that we shouldn't think, because thinking is good. Critical thinking is great. But it's how and when we use those two words that can really do amazing things for our credibility that will elevate us to new levels. When people talk about the 1% versus the 99%, we always think about money or income. But there's also a 1% when it comes to communication and conversation. That 1% is a group of people who know how to use the words I think in the appropriate way. So what is that way? Well, last week I attended a conference that featured many roundtable discussions with other peers in my industry. I listened as we went around the table, and everyone gave their opinions beginning with the words I think. And then the next person, and then the next person. Again, nothing wrong with thinking or opinions. Many of them were very valid. But I wrote an article a few weeks back about how emotion and opinion are the lowest entry points to any form of human communication. If we want to increase the level and quality of our communication and conversations, as well as skyrocket our credibility, we have to move beyond emotion and opinion and arrive at evidence. So a conference attendee and I began talking about a hot subject area on the side, employee engagement. Right, and after she shared her opinions, beginning with I think, I began by noting that Gallup recently released its 2017 State of the American Workforce study. And it has some really interesting findings there, right? 33% of employees are actively engaged at work right now. 51% would entertain a new opportunity if it provided more flexibility. And 60% of employees said the ability to do what they do best is the most important thing keeping them at a company, right? Above money and beyond benefits. I finished with so I think and gave her much more than an opinion. It was a conclusion rooted in evidence, right? It elevated the conversation and ultimately my credibility in her eyes as a peer and a professional. Right now I work for a company that solves the world's greatest problems for the world's greatest organizations. Our employees don't solve these problems based on emotion or opinion or how they personally feel about things. They solve these problems with facts, with data, with evidence, and then they use the words I think, which again are actually conclusions rooted in overwhelming evidence. So my advice to you is when you engage in conversations, particularly those in your area of expertise, try your best to move the I think statement to the end, after you've delivered some sort of evidentiary or experiential statement. Cite something, a stat, an article, a study. If you've got none of those, at least a relatable experience would be your next best bet. Becoming a one percenter in communication and conversation is hard work. It means being educated, informed, being constantly curious, and wanting to learn. I'm not there yet. I'm a 99 percenter, but I'm getting better, right? And it's an evolution that takes time. The good news though, anybody can do it, including you. And if you start to master the words I think, your credibility will skyrocket.